Good evening. I'm very glad to welcome in Yerevan the High Representative of the EU Joint Foreign Policy and Security Affairs, the Vice President of the European Commission, Ms. Federica Mogherini. We have had many opportunities to meet on different international platforms, but this is her first visit to Yerevan, and I'm very happy to welcome her in Armenia, to welcome Federica Mogherini in Armenia. A few minutes ago, Ms. Mogherini's meeting with the President of the Republic of Armenia was over. During our today's meetings, we thoroughly discussed various issues regarding the cooperation between Armenia and the European Union. We covered the course of the negotiations on the creation of a new legal framework. We have a clear framework and timeline for discussions. The negotiating teams from Armenia and the EU hold effective meetings, and in this regard we expressed our mutual satisfaction with the progress made so far. We reaffirmed Armenia's commitment to expand and to reinforce the comprehensive cooperation with the European Union in all directions of mutual interest, keeping in mind our commitment in other integration platforms and formats. We covered the joint steps to be taken for the further development of cooperation, namely issues on political dialogue, mobility, human rights, sector interactions, as well as support to reforms underway in Armenia. On the basis of shared values, we will continue the promotion of human rights and the rule of law, the improvement of good governance, to fight against corruption, as well as the reinforcement and strengthening of democratic institutions and civil society. We welcome the process of the revision of the European neighborhood policy, which takes into consideration the partner diversification principle. We're grateful to the European Union for the years-long assistance, which has played a significant role for the implementation of reforms and institutional capacity building in Armenia. Along with the discussions on the legal framework of our relations, the Armenian party is involved in negotiations with the respective European Commission bodies about our participation in various EU initiatives. In the promotion of Armenia-EU relations, people-to-people contacts are specifically important, and the free mobility of our citizens is seen to be an important factor in order to bring our societies closer to each other. It's been 2 years that the EU-Armenia visa facilitation regime and readmission agreements have been enforced, and we're convinced that time has come to move on and to start the visa liberalization dialogue. We covered a number of urgent international and regional issues. We exchanged ideas on the situation in the Middle East, in particular the situation in Syria. We highlighted the importance for the consolidation of international community efforts in the fight against terror and the need for the protection of minority rights in the region. In this context, we welcomed the resolution passed by the UN Security Council in support of the ceasefire in Syria. We discussed the migration crisis and issues regarding the refugee flows. We informed that Armenia has provided protection to over 20,000 refugees from Syria. Thus, our country is the third country in Europe who has accepted and hosted the largest number of Syrian refugees per capita. We highly prioritized the probable assistance by the EU to Armenia in this regard. The Iran nuclear deal was on the agenda of the negotiations, which opens up broad opportunities for cooperation. We covered the recent developments in the negotiation process within the framework of the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairmanship. Ms. Mogherini restated EU's full support for the exclusively peaceful resolution efforts made by the Minsk Group co-chairs, a settlement that is based on the proposals, recommendations of the co-chairs and the famous Madrid principles. We share the opinion that the maintenance of the status quo it does not come from anyone's interest, and we share the opinions of the co-chairmen and also the EU. But of course, the destructive steps that contribute to the escalation of the situation, the denial of the commitment to the exclusively peaceful resolution of the issue, the attempt at the shift of the negotiation format, the refusal from the creation of an investigation mechanism, and the bellicose rhetoric are harmful, and they contribute to the maintenance of the status quo. We share the opinion that there is no alternative to negotiations. Summing up, I'm pleased to underline that the relations between Armenia and the EU are at a high level and have promising prospects. We're convinced that Ms. Federica Mogherini's visit will be an additional stimulus for our mutually beneficial cooperation and the future development and the expansion and deepening of this cooperation. Thank you very much, and I would very gladly give the floor to Ms. Mogherini.
I cannot say here again because it's the first time I'm here, but to address again the press together with you. We were together in Brussels in December last year to launch the negotiations on addressing the press together, so it's a pleasure. I had a first visit to your country, a very intensive and comprehensive one. Apart from my encounter with Foreign Minister, I had good discussions with the President, with members of political parties represented in the Parliament, and representatives of the extremely vibrant and active Armenian civil society. We have addressed a wide range of issues, starting with the EU-Armenia bilateral agenda, as well as some regional and multilateral issues. 2015 was an important year for our bilateral relations, marked by a joint reflection on the scope for future relations and marked by the launch, as I said, in December of negotiations on the new EU-Armenia agreement. Today we have discussed the state of play and the perspectives of these negotiations. It is important for broader society to be part of this process, to fully understand and share the sense of direction of our relationship, and this is true both in the European Union and in Armenia. I believe we both want to be good partners to each other, and this should under no circumstance be seen as exclusive or divisive, competitive or contradictory to other. Cooperation, rule of law have proven to be the best drivers of economic growth, employment and security. And even in these very difficult years and these very difficult times, the European Union is already the first trade partner for Armenia, the first investor in Armenia and the first donor in Armenia. But it's not only about money, even if it doesn't play a minor role. Emphasis needs to be placed notably on democracy and the rule of law, anti-corruption, human rights and fundamental freedoms, constitutional and judicial reform, justice and accountability. And I know this is a particular day to mention this. Particular attention is also needed as regards the reform of the electoral system. We discussed this at length. This should be carried out in due time and in an inclusive manner so that all stakeholders would be able to build broad consensus on it. The European Union supports the recommendations of the OSCE ODIHR referendum expert team's final report and the previous OSCE ODIHR recommendations, which still need to be addressed. Without a transparent investigation of all alleged frauds, as well as appropriate measures taken, if these are confirmed, the recent constitutional referendum would be a missed opportunity to increase the confidence in and the integrity of electoral processes in Armenia. The EU will continue to support the country's effort to advance political and social reforms, to advance mobility agenda, and to improve the protection and the promotion of human rights and fundamental freedoms. It is important to make best use of the very significant EU assistance, which focuses in particular on private sector development, public administration reform, and justice sector reform. We also discussed at length regional issues, including potential for constructive cooperation with Iran and possibilities for cooperation on Syria. I fully share the words you spent on the UN Security Council resolution and the cessation of hostilities in that territory. We also discussed the integration of Syrian refugees. The European Union is considering whether it can support Armenia in this respect, also through the EU Trust Fund that was established to address the crisis. The peaceful resolution of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict remains a priority for the European Union. The status quo is unsustainable to us. The conflict does not have a military solution and needs a political settlement in accordance with international law. The European Union supports the efforts of the Minsk Group co-chairs to facilitate progress drawing on the three Madrid principles and elements, and calls for the intensification of high-level talks to advance the settlement. It is also important to reverse recent negative trends of escalating tensions and create an enabling environment, in particular by refraining from actions on the ground and confrontational rhetoric that heighten tensions and undermine the peace process. The European Union supports the calls of the co-chairs for an incident investigation mechanism. We will continue to extend support to the Minsk Group co-chairs, including through the work of the EU Special Representative, Herbert Salber, that was with me all over the day, and to complement their efforts in this respect. The European Union also stands ready to further support peace-building activities and people-to-people contacts to help overcome the conflict divide. And let me finish by thanking you, Edward, and all the institutions, the political actors, the civil society organizations for an extremely interesting and, I believe, fruitful first visit to Armenia. Thank you very much.